Okay, want to talk to the people who do not have an awareness of what this agentic AI thing is. How can you have an AI agent? Is that like an employee that does actual work, like a robot? Are they capable of making intelligent decisions like an agent with its own volition and agency? Not quite. There's usually a human in the loop. It's usually an AI model that has been pointed at a specific usually repetitive task or needle in a haystack kind of scanning, looking at transcripts or emails. But this is something that you don't have to go to an AI agency and spend hundreds of thousands of dollars or get into a contract with people making AI software that might do similar things to this, but they will charge you a special fee. They won't give you the price. My price here is $29 a month, flat fee. Your only additional cost will be a few pennies for calling this Groq model, which you'll provide the API key for and hold that. But the situation with this software, it is a flat fee. If you go with other software, they might not give you the fee. They'll give you a contact us. You'll contact their sales. You'll be paying their salesmen, their advertisers, their venture capital backed prices, where this is just a flat fee. And what it does, in case that wasn't clear, it's eavesdropping on your conversation. Depending on the prompt you have in here about what you are, who you're trying to be, what you're doing, what your task is, it will give you the answers for what you need or what you're trying to be whenever anything is in question, or if you just want a summary at the end of the conversation, or if you're taking a screenshot and you don't want a transcript, you can clear that transcript, whatever's on the screen. If you want to make this more scarce for your training, for your school, for your interactions, collaborating, working, dealing with customers. This also has Salesforce integration built in. This also has RAG retrieval augmentation generation, or augmented. But you'll add those local files with that specific data, your own writings. If those might be helpful, you will add in here. And then these will be at the top of the mind of the model when you call the model, if you want that information in there. And as far as Salesforce goes, if you want to contact, lead, case, task, event, opportunity, you want the information for those things extracted from the conversation or extracted from an email on the screen, then when you go to ask it, if we had any of these on the screen or in the transcript, it would populate those. As a matter of fact, I can do that right now with this faux email. If we have this rigged up, so if I ask the AI, there, as you can see, it has populated these fields. And then when I send this off to Salesforce, when your client ID there in your CRM is connected, that will be created for you. So all of this stuff, and I will be building more in the future. So if you want to be in contact with me, things you might need, certain phone systems you want this integrated with, calendar systems you want this integrated with, I will keep building, and I will keep the fee $29, and I will be updating the models. Model is for your selection right there. You might as well use this one. This is on par with most of the large language models out today for most questions. You know, we're hitting a bit of a plateau where they're advancing a lot in certain areas like coding, math, physics, but for most workflows, for most people's work day to day, especially sales and customer service, this is very powerful and has a very deep technical knowledge on a lot of different topics, engineering, products, techniques in sales, techniques in collaborating, customer service, whatever you need the intelligence for. So building this in is not something you want to hire an AI agency to point at certain text, because you can have it already there taking screenshots in your workflow. And when you need to move data from one area to another, if it's to Salesforce, that's ready to send off. If it is from a conversation, it can extract that. And then if you have something local you want to do with your own local programs, you can get the answer by calling it through code, some server, some middleware. When you paste that ask onto the screen, you can get your answer. Let's toggle this to the kind of generic helpful prompt instead. So then when we go to this ask API route again, we get the answer from the model now. And it's just talking about how I am, since there isn't really a question on the screen, it's kind of just giving you a summary. But when you're at work, in your workflow, it's going to be more specific. You're going to apply this to areas where things are repetitive, and you're going to apply this to situations where it's a needle in a haystack situation. Something very good happens. We need this step, this step, this step, notify this person, that person. Or the same if something bad happens, alert, send it off. Really, the situation is up to you. Your work, you know your work better than I do. So where you will be applying this, where it might work, is something you will find out for yourself, and maybe asking the AI, a ChatGPT, GPT-5, what should I be doing? I work here. What kind of agentic workflows are people finding the most productivity with in my workflow? What is similar to my workflow? What markets could I be expanding into with my workflow? What can the agent be telling me? So really good with that, really a octopus, something that is just this brain, eyes and ears, doing some type 1 thinking, but then you can get into a situation where you're doing more. It's a bit like if you play chess. Have you been to chess.com lately? You know what you can do with this now? They've added this feature where you can do game review. Don't look at my score. People on chess.com are very good, so I don't think this is an accurate score. My score used to be much higher, and I really don't have the patience for it. But you can do game review, and doing game review in chess, it will tell you move by move.
There are some great moves to review in an otherwise tough game.
What you
Let's
could have
take
done.
a look.
So this is going to be the AI. You might be skeptical. You might be a little bit apprehensive, and that's good. And it's good that you held out and we found each other. You didn't get taken by an AI agency to build a brittle workflow for tens of thousands of dollars into areas that might yield results for you or might not. You didn't get into an AI contract with some AI software that will nickel and dime you for every feature built in here, like pay an extra $20 a month to unlock the RAG. I give it all to you, and I'm going to keep adding more, especially if I hear from my customers what programs you want integrated. Matter of fact, because I'm at the beginning, if you want to call me, email me and then we'll talk. And I will literally send you my phone number. And I will be your AI agency for a flat fee of $29 a month. I'm not going to write a lot of custom software for you, but we are going to be you, me, and other customers using this software. We are going to build the general infrastructure for all customers who need AI agentic workflows, this assembly line of tools that everyone can use. What are you using for your number one calling software, your scheduling software? So I will build that in. You'll have more tabs here. And we will only have to do this once, and this will be available for a flat fee as I develop. So this is the mission that we're on. It is redundant to pay AI agencies to come in and do their architecture, their addition to whatever your workflow assembly line is, and then go on to the next company and rebuild those same things when we can have these built in here. There are AI agencies out there building Salesforce integration, going from one business to another, charging them tens of thousands of dollars to do that. I have it right here. I know Salesforce themselves has some kind of agents, and that's okay. I think mine's better, mine's cheaper, mine is what you want. So we will keep building, but the AI, like, this is a video for the skeptical. And what an agent is just a model with some special instructions. The model is here, the special instructions are here, and then it is something that is looking at something specific, usually repetitive, or looking at everything and trying to find that needle in a haystack. And it will see it in your conversations and in your screenshot when you think you might have it. So you don't want redundancy. This is the point of our grandfathers, maybe, at this point, were the ones to see everything in the workplace go from paperwork to actual computers. And then the parents, the generation after that, were the ones to see everything go from local computers to the internet and cloud. Both of those transitions, I don't know if I said this already, were harder than this in a way. The people really paying the high cost, doing the hard work, are the people building these models, paying hundreds of billions of dollars to have these models. And Groq is really the one to use for your purposes. So Groq will be the one that will be supplying the models for now, and maybe in the future. They provide open source models and they do inference on them with their own software and hardware, which is very fast, and they charge a fairly low cost for it. But what was the point of going from paperwork to computers and then from local computers to internet? Well, it's the same thing of going from rocks to then going to bronze and iron, and then, fire, the wheel, having gunpowder, having oil, steam, coal. These are the things that reduce the redundancy in the process. And what I mean by redundancy is the friction of having to move something when the wheel's not invented. Once you have the wheel, you're outcompeted if you don't use the wheel. So what the analogy is here, or why this is going to replace everything, even though you might feel a little unease about your conversation being transcribed, even though you have Siri and Alexa, a large majority of you out there, or you're asking your Google phone, transcribing text on that. Having your conversations and then the energy applied in those conversations, that work, that back and forth, that comprehension, what the other person is saying, answering them, the uncertainty that comes up, the uncertainty that's resolved, dealing with that uncertainty in the moment and dealing with using the energy and the effort in that conversation is the effort that should be going to the AI and will be going to the AI. This is like putting wheels or putting rockets on behind the effort that you're putting into that conversation, and having the intelligence layer right there, seeing, hearing, and then being prompted with the right prompt. And it is a little bit of an art. So having that, and with the RAG, also the additional information to be on the top of the mind of the model, spreadsheets, conversations, even previous chats with ChatGPT or previous transcribed conversations taken from this program, which you can extract with the transcript API route and what the model says about it. All stuff you can keep cycling back in to this program in the form of the RAG. And that's something you'll want to test and work with. I've heard RAG sometimes has mixed results, but that might depend on the model. You know, sometimes the first and last thing entered in RAG is what the model is good at recalling, and others are better or worse, but it's generally going to improve. This is the worst it will ever be. And already I'm sure if you're watching it and you're just learning about AI agents and AI workflows, there's some place for you to apply it to get a huge return and reduction in redundancy, because it is redundant to be having something you're doing at work, something you're collaborating with a coworker or dealing with a customer, whatever you're trying to accomplish. If it's so robotic that it's boring, you can automate a lot of that schlep in here. And if it's something hard, a hard thing, the AI is not going to be a magic genie. It's not going to be a genius, but you should try. Whatever you are trying to resolve that you don't know, in that moment there, you might be surprised by what the AI is able to tell you. And you are able to use the force. Use the force, Luke. You're applying force. Use all of that force. So don't have the conversation or be in a problem and then be burdened and stressed with it and confused all day, and then rehash and rewrite, re-dramatize, going back and forth with the AI through a more, it's traditional at this point, 2 to 3 year old chat window when it doesn't have the context, when you already expended that context. So this is where your competitors and the AI agent implementation thing, the hype is real. So using the energy, not having energy in your system being wasted. Don't have the heater on when it's 10 degrees outside and leave a window wide open. So don't leave insights on the table left to the void of eternity because you didn't have this intelligence built into that layer. So I hope that's a little bit of a possible direction for people who are skeptical, for people who rightly have waited and not implemented these things, because it took someone like me to come along and offer this and to keep building and be in communication with you to have everything that you need. And I will be seeing you hopefully in the future. I hope this works out for you. I don't know if I was able to clear up what an AI agent is. Nobody really knows. There are people who build chains of events, logical, kind of rule-based things. If that's your work, there's something called N8N. Maybe that's an agent. But if we really had agents that really did work, then we really wouldn't have as many humans anymore, and we'd be entering a new age. So there is usually a human in the loop. Like when you do get this, you are the human in the loop to see what the LLM was able to extract from that conversation or email. So before you send that off, you are able to check it, and then even ask the customer, okay, are you sure this name, I have it spelled right, and that's such and such at email something.net, not .com, right, before you send that off. And so you are, when dealing with a so-called AI agent, just dealing with a little bit of a compression or distillation of an AI that is pointed to a specific picture or bit of text, and then doing something with that, distilling it in some way, and possibly calling some other process to happen. In this case, the process is that it's going to Salesforce, but if there is something else you would like to call, you will hit the ask endpoint at the end of the conversation, and that will trigger something wild and crazy, some spaghetti structure code, if that's what you want to get really agentic and really a little more autonomous. But that is still in the experimental phase. We're going to need bigger, better models before we get there. We're probably going to have, think about 5, 8, 10 years when we're having actual simulations of the world and businesses in the simulation of the world, and they've been training for 1 billion years, and then they can come to you and the model will be in here, that super intelligent model. In 5 years, 8 years, you'll just toggle this and then put the prompt in there. But you may as well get ready for it now. It is coming. It is real. The hype is real. And you would really know this if you've been programming. If you were programming in the year since 2018, 2020, 2022, the ChatGPT moment when we got the 3.5 model, it could do a little bit of coding. And what it is able to do now, if you've seen that, you've never seen anything like this, anything this astounding. And all I can say is get ready. Try not to lose money. Be skeptical. Very good. And then be in contact with me and try this out, because I think it is the best option. And so this is the microphone. Anyway, I may as well just keep explaining. Of course, when you want to see what's coming over the system, then you would.
All right, thank you. Hello. This is my second time on the show. All right.
You'll see the person talking down there, as you saw.
I mean, the first time must have been okay.
You know, and that's how it works. Actually pretty simple at the core, and a bit like your eyes, ears, and type 1 thinking brain. That's what this model does. It's not a thinking model because it is bringing back what's important now, WIN. If you need type 2 thinking, which is more what you would see in a chess game, like middle game, chess game, if you're losing a lot, like I do at chess, and you are in a situation where you need to think more higher entropy, randomness, collaboration with something else, considering, challenging, feeling in the dark, struggling type thinking, that's type 2 thinking. So if you need a model to do that in your situation, you could call another model, give it the transcript, give it what this type 1 thinking model has. Something like Groq Heavy, I think, is the best model. All of the, top 3 or 4, OpenAI, Anthropic, Google Gemini, and XAI, offer a model for something near $200 a month that will do very deep type 2 thinking, which you could hand this over to if you needed more deep thinking, or something like, let's say, you're talking about regulation, you're talking about a project, and then you want deep research on the project after you've collected all of the transcripts and gotten all of the AI summaries, although you may not need those, but then you've collected all of the other relevant information. If you go to Gemini Research and you want to get a research report, sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not good, but they will get better. You know, this is the situation that we're in. What was AI image generation in 2022 versus 2025? Let's see if we have some good side-by-sides. It was very sloppy just a few years ago. Not even clear that they would ever improve the AI images from just a few years ago. Now they're indistinguishable from real photos. Pretty soon it's going to be audio, music, video, personas, actual personalities, virtual people. I am still real, trust me. But next step after that will be simulations, simulating the world. And by that time, we're going to have big changes. You don't have any frame of reference for how big of a change we're going to see. And it's going to be staggering. So, system like this, you can get ready, get started. And if you don't even want to pay the $29 a month, just keep using different computers, different email addresses. Just keep trying it out. Try it out in different processes. Tell someone else with a different job if it didn't work out for you at the company. Slightly different role, slightly different prompt. Another 7-day free trial. Although I set it up so you can't move the same email address to different computers, because it is aware of your computer, not aware of what's on it. It just, every device has a specific device identification, and then it's $29 per seat. So you have to, if you want to change the device, you can go in and unpair the device you're on now if you're in a trial, and try that somewhere else. But pretty flexible though, trying it with different emails, different devices. I invite you. And if you even want a longer, you want to give me how should I put it? A little bit of a story, like, I want to try this out. You want me to go in to my server and give you a longer trial period? You need a longer trial period for different people to test this out, because you're possibly going to implement this in a company with a few seats, with more than a few employees, and you want to talk to me. We can talk. I'm very interested in what you need and developing the solution for you. So that's what this is all about. Windows, not available for Mac. Not really sure about how Mac will enable the screenshots and the microphone and being able to build. Windows is a bit more of a better workshop for building things and more possibilities. Apple is a bit more closed and makes the decisions for you, so not as good as a workshop. But if I get a lot of demand for it, you will see this deployed in Windows. But just download. It's a simple exe. After you sign up and you get your email verified, I have to do that in order to prevent someone from just entering the millionth fake email. And you get your trial license key. You'll enter that upon the first time you download it. This also downloads a model that's 150 megabytes. Not big, not going to take up much space. That model will run on your CPU and is transcribing this conversation. It will run on a laptop. It is an AI model. It's not calling anything. It's running locally, made by the good folks at OpenAI. Very good at transcribing. So this is the transcript that I've been having it open. If I was talking to someone, the someone I was be talking to would have the role of system. So when you're making the prompt, you can label Mike. I am Mike, MIC, and I'm talking to system, who is a customer or a tutor, or I am Mike, MIC, the tutor. System is my student, or system is my lawyer. I am the accountant, whatever the roles are. Am I going all over the place? I really just want to make sure everything is covered. So that CPU only model is somehow able to transcribe live, which it's doing now. And after you download that and enter your key, you go over to Groq, get your Groq key. And Groq is something, in my experience, that you don't even have to pay for maybe the first month, or unless you get into some heavy usage. Very cheap. Something that's built almost for someone with like a large scale service of thousands of users. You will control your API key and your license. You will also control your Salesforce client ID. And if you are the administrator of your machine, like I am coming to you now over a Windows 11 machine, these things are stored in an app data folder. And if you want to put that behind a admin password, and you, the admin, have a special Groq API key for each employee, a license, trial license for each employee, or $29 a month software license for me for every employee. So all those things will be things that even though the employee will be running this program, they will not have access to the system's client ID or this trial license or the Groq API. That's something you really want to keep private. You don't want your employee to be able to take their work API AI key and use that or do God knows what with it, and then you get a lot of API calls that you're on the hook for. You can, like I said, I can show you how cheap these are, my token usage, even though I've been using this a lot. What was last month? I use this, I've called this so many times. I can't say how many, but I've called it a lot, and I only had to pay 14 cents. And if I was using this, calling it hundreds of times a day, I don't know what it would be, $1 or $2 maybe a month. And if you're really calling it for a very, very, very simple type of task, the Scout model, which is many times smaller, might be the model for you to use. But the 405 billion parameter model is just about the best for most purposes and works with the RAG. So you don't want to have this checked if you're using the Scout model. But with the bigger model, the RAG works with the Maverick model. Okay, what else can I say? I think I've covered it. I think this is, even though this at its core is very simple, as I've said many times, and a no-brainer because you have to give these models more and more context. So it's the situation, as they say, that there's no stupid questions. I think there are stupid questions, and a lot of chatter, a lot of information, a lot of questions that people already know the answer to, and they're just talking to talk. I don't think that's how we use AI or should be using it, especially as it becomes super intelligent in the future. I think you want to be doing things, dealing with people in your relationships, doing hard things when something comes into question, and it is prompted well, it knows your role, and then when you go to ask the AI, it's going to be there for you. It's going to tell you this. And I think that's the point. So I hope I want to try to provide something really good, really valuable, really for me to do the most good. I see out there the redundancy of the AI agencies, the development shops selling these things that might not work. Let's charge you thousands of dollars and build this in to a brittle system that we are locked into that might change and might not work, where you can have that same system get that same intelligence injected into it just by having this open and pointing your program to it. I mean, look at how big my screen is. Quite large, and if there is anything relevant that the screen is visible, relevant to the prompt, and you say take screenshot, it's going to tell you what you need to know in that moment. And that's your business. You can brainstorm your business. What if you have somebody who's not technical? They're hired to answer the phones and schedule and dispatch people out into the field to fix things. HVAC, right? And the helpful thing would be for the customer to take a picture, maybe, if the customer is kind of a doesn't know HVAC like you do, and then even your scheduling receptionist person doesn't know HVAC like you do, the owner of the HVAC company. Then the customer can send the picture of what's going on, what type of model it is. And this can go for sales or anything technical, farm equipment, lawn care equipment. Such a highly advanced industrial civilization we live in with so many needs out there. So I hope this is helpful. Like, what part do they need? What new version of that model of equipment do they need? How many people do they need to deploy? How long is it going to take? And if the model doesn't know it, that's also something specific to your business. You could load into the local files here, into the RAG and text files. And as you can tell, how I'm able to keep going and keep talking about it is because we're in this solutions everywhere situation. We've kind of been training these models when AI was having its discovery moment in like 2015, 2016. OpenAI and other companies were really figuring out that the models keep getting more and more intelligent, especially since the ChatGPT moment. These have really been trained. We're really figuring out how to tailor this intelligence to what humans need, giving answers to things that humans need, and the general intelligence of everything humans ever might want in a situation where they want to know what can I do now, what's important now, WIN. So now it is time, since we have the models, to roll it out and for you to try it. Like, there's a pretty good chance you haven't been in a situation like this in your life where you can throw so many things at the wall. Might work, might not work, might work in 6 months, might work in a year, 3 years, 5 years, but very good chance you're going to get some productivity out of this for a lot of people. Others, maybe not. Maybe you're just watching this because you're kind of curious about what's this AI agent thing about. But it's even relevant for you, everyone who wants to do anything. If you're in school, if you're in training, if you want to get certifications, if you want to know how to answer job interviews, if you want to simulate certain job interviews or do remote work, a human plus this program doing remote work for a lot of remote work out there is going to be a very powerful, very intelligent employee, and everyone's going to be happy. The customer, the owner, the boss, the manager. I don't stand by using this to commit straight up fraud, cheating, but definitely good for studying. And if you can use this and prove that it adds a lot of value and then continue using it at your job, those person using that to get hired and using it at the job, this is what it's going to be in the future anyway. And if your boss, hiring manager, doesn't understand that, like I said, a lot of the newspapers were really dug in for a lot of years that they wouldn't be changing. They wouldn't have to change. The same resistance happens, and these people are able to appear like they're right going on 3 years, 5 years, even during the expansion phase, like from 2010 up to 2015 of the so-called Magnificent Seven. The tech companies just keep growing, providing better and more intelligence and services, even though they weren't artificial intelligence. There were naysayers the entire way, but this is more of a real and very consequential and very serious phase in human history, in industrial revolutions, bigger than anything you name, from the discovery of bronze, iron, steel, fire, wheels, clean water, steam engines, coal, gasoline, oil, and computers themselves. So I think I've covered that and might be all talked out, although I can keep going and keep brainstorming new situations, whatever situation you're in or might be in the future. Or if you just want to get some certifications, if none of this really applies to you, then this could do it for you, because you can make this really skinny and get the answers that are on the screen, or it can hear the questions coming in remotely. And how about also out there, another idea, if you want to start an AI agency and undercut the developers out there charging tens of thousands of dollars, if you want to offer this, whatever you want to charge them monthly for my $29 fee, my $29 fee for the licensing of each version of this software will remain the same. But it is up to you to really help the local businesses. I can't build in every single API connection like I've built in for Salesforce, which I just built in because Salesforce, I really don't know how many. I assume it's popular. They have the tallest building west of the Rockies, so I assume there might be some need for it. But of all the other software out there that intelligence from this system might be able to port into, you would be not only in a position in your local region, in your city, able to offer this to them in person, especially if you've tried it out, you use it, you know I'm not offering something buggy or something that's not valuable. But you would not only be able to offer this to them, but then you would be able to get your AI agency rolling, building in the other custom solutions, because they're going to have custom needs that require custom solutions. I'm in here behind your screen in internet land, offering this remotely from my server, wherever you might be. But you can go, easier said than done, but into any business with your business card that you are a new AI agency upstart, and you will implement this into AI workflows for free. And when they need not only the AI assistant with the Salesforce integration, but they need the entry into Excel from a output of the model, or they need this to schedule something into their scheduling software, or they want their phone call that happens on a piece of software on Windows. When that call starts, when that call stops, there's going to be another API route. So when the start of the phone call happens, then that will send out a webhook or notification, which we'll call this. And then when it stops, you will call this. Then if you want to save the transcript, you can call this. And then ask the model when it's done. Then clear the transcript, start the next one. When that phone call is over. So building these things in, I can't be everywhere and build everything. At its core, like as I've said many times, is a fairly simple program. And if people really need, if we're really shaping up to need common things, like Salesforce is probably fairly common as far as connecting this goes. I will build this, but I'm not going to build the whole world of other software into here. But that's something you can do. You can do it locally. You can really help organizations that are small, that are big, giving them this reasonable price, whatever the market will bear. But I think this is the way to go. And I'd like to hear from you if you're doing that, how that's going. We can talk on the phone if you want for things you might need, or just any complaints or any concerns, contacting me here. We can talk, and I will be in touch. And this will be available here, winsystem.dev. What's important now? That's the question. And use the force. Okay? What else can I say? Thank you.